Hello and welcome to the 65th episode of the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast. My name is Mike Williams. This is Liam McKelvey and Jake Kulkowski.
Hello.
How are you, fellas?
Yeah,
good.
Very good, baby.
Very good, very good. This week, as always, we'll be answering our patrons' questions. We post these podcasts a few days early on our Patreon feed every single week, and that means our patrons get early access, and then they can comment on it, asking questions, which we then read out in the following podcast. If you want to be one of them patrons, then you can support us for $1 a month. Join us on Patreon, and you can be involved in the podcast and ask questions like Gareth McKelvey's, who asks, will Black Ops 4 be the nail in the coffin? How's that for a podcast opener, boys?
Boom.
Will Black Ops 4 be the nail in the coffin?
Very fluid intro and segue.
Thanks, but what about the question?
All right, the question.
What about the matter at hand?
Right, will it be the nail in the coffin? No, it will not.
No, definitely not.
Listen, I watched their presentation, right, in the kitchen,
You were excited.
and I wasn't even fully paying attention. And I was doing impressions of it in the office, wasn't I?
Yes.
Like the next day, I loved how they held the suspense.
It was unbearable.
It was so, what?
Nothing.
Oh, no, all right, yeah.
I thought it was alright.
Yeah, thanks.
Jake's
man.
impressions.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Liam. Because Liam actually
nice
watched it
with
as
that.
well.
I watched it as well, so
Yeah,
I've got a frame of reference.
And it was really good how they built suspense. It made me laugh because they like proper mastered it. They were like going, and we're going to be bringing back a little map we call Blood of the Dead.
It was like,
and then the going, Wah! And then the crowd was so hyped. I thought Call of Duty's got a lot of life left. They can do what the fuck they want. They were going, and this time we're not going for a traditional campaign.
Was it
Everyone
Stevie
going,
from Malcolm in the
"Wah!"
Middle doing it by any chance?
I don't know what that reference means.
The guy who stops every time.
Oh no, he's a fucking dweeb. This guy was like a big, strong bro that made me believe traditional.
He was a big, strong bro that made you believe.
Yeah, like
To be fair, he actually did look a bit like a bald Jake.
he
He had the beard,
that's
he
why
had
I like
the
And that's why there's no nail in Black Ops.
there's a
4's
lot of life
coffin.
in Call of Duty left. No, it'll do all right. It'll do all right. People only play Call of Duty because of the multiplayer these days. Well, from what I know anyway, people just moan.
Anecdotally, I guess, yeah, I'd agree.
All the people on the internet as well saying, no campaign, no buy. They're in the minority. Your average Joe who goes down to Tesco on October 12th, whenever it out, he's not going to give a shit. He just wants his COD fix.
I think there are going to be, among the kind of casual audience, there are going to be some disappointments. And I think there are, for certain people picking it up, being surprised when they get home and put it in the disc tray to find out that there's no single player.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I know a few people who'd be like that.
Yeah. And because it's up there with like Call of Duty, FIFA, and possibly Assassin's Creed for games that a certain sector of people who own a PlayStation or an Xbox, they'll just pick them up every year, which is fine. But they don't necessarily follow gaming news, and therefore it might be a bit of a surprise to them when it comes out. We've done a video about this. We have kind of talked about it at length in a video, but I'm with you there. I don't think it's a nail in the coffin by any means. Actually, I don't think there is a coffin. I think it's just people are always going to buy it. It's not always going to be the juggernaut. It's not going to be the juggernaut it once was, possibly ever again. Because it was huge at one time, all right? Modern Warfare 2, and that when it was really, and Black Ops, when it really was at its zenith, like it was just at the peak.
COD was the trendsetter.
Yeah,
it absolutely was.
Modern Warfare, 11 years ago now, though.
Yeah.
It's weird to think it's been so long.
The game still looks exactly the same, but
it's just weird between Battlefield and that there's no campaign, right?
Yeah.
Well, Battlefield is going to have a campaign.
They're having the vignette approach.
Yeah, no traditional campaign.
They've got the war stories thing from Battlefield 1. That's coming back.
Which I was okay with, and
it was alright. It was terrible.
And I also think that Star Wars Battlefront 2 probably would have benefited a bit more from that approach, actually, because the campaign that you got ended up being, it was just a story, but it still had that touring.
It was a bit disjointed.
Because they were trying to evoke that. You got to play as Luke Skywalker, you got to play as Lando. So they just chuck you around a little bit more, and it just felt disconnected. Whereas Battlefield just was disconnected. It was just 6 standalone stories, and then you accept that, you swallow that, and you go okay. And each one of them's like an hour long or something.
Yeah.
And
I have to say that the Black Ops III campaign was awful.
Okay,
it was really bad stuff.
Yeah.
So if they. I don't know where they could have took it story-wise either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder why they've even called it Black Ops 4.
Just thematically, I guess. Thematically, it's similar.
Setting is it? Because I guess that's the counter argument. The big counter argument from them is that you've dropped the single player campaign, but the story is still in there. In the sense that you've got characters and you've got scenarios and stuff, and you've got a setting that has been pitched, but you haven't got like a thread running through it. Is the difference?
You're quite right, because like even the zombies, they've rebooted that now.
Yeah,
they're starting that again.
Yeah.
So you're right. There's quite a lot of new stuff, but I guess they don't want to have another name for it because they know that just the name Black Ops will just sell units.
Yeah. I mean, they you look at Ghosts or something, which was really poorly received, and it didn't have like a name that tied it to anything else, and it just was all round probably the biggest Call of Duty failure I can think of. So yeah, no, I don't think Black Ops 4 or Black Ops III as it's styled is a nail in any coffin. I don't think Call of Duty is dying. But I guess I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear, Gareth. I don't know if you were kind of expecting.
We're not here to give him what he wants. We're here to give him.
We're here to answer the questions.
And I remember the exact quote, by the way, from that seminar that made me believe.
What from the bro?
The big strong bro. It was he went. This is Battle Royale. The Black Ops way. Duh! And then everyone was like, yes. Watch it online.
Did you know when you were in your kitchen or whatever? Did you give like a little? Yeah.
I did this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course you did. Yeah, definitely.
I had quite the opposite reaction. I went, alright, just calm down, man.
Yeah, I asked Liam how he felt, and his response was whelmed.
Yeah.
Not underwhelmed. Not overwhelmed.
Yeah. Just whelmed.
I didn't watch it.
It wasn't anything special. It was alright, I guess.
I'm not a Call of Duty fan by any means at the moment.
Me neither, but I just wanted to see what it was.
Just excited for the fans, isn't it? Excited for the fans. Yeah.
The Black Ops
to make you believe.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Gareth McKelvey, for getting the podcast off to a blazing start. Vincent Jones with the next one. Hey guys, do you think Star Citizen will ever release? And if it does, will it be shit? Bit of a loaded question there, Vince.
Yeah.
Will it be shit? Will it be good? Might have been an alternative.
What will it be? Yeah.
I don't know. Will it be shit? I don't know. I've not got enough personal exposure to Star Citizen. Huge project, of course. Covered it loads of times on the channel. Yeah. Do you guys have any predictions for Star Citizen as to when it will release, if ever? Will it be good? Will it be shit?
Ballpark 2022. Why not?
Okay.
Ooh.
You heard it here first.
I think it'll be mostly competent.
I
don't know. I have no investment in it, so I don't.
I'm getting serious Mark Commode's vibes off you here, Liam. It was functional.
Liam playing a game, going competent. Yes.
Yeah.
I just need to quiff the hair up, don't I? And I'll be there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the hype is going to be its like main killer, right? No Man's Sky suffered a bit of that, but Star Citizens are weird because it's crowdfunded and then they keep pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. I don't know. I think
the
for
expectations a bit unrealistic at this point.
For people like us who not that fussed, not backed it, anything like that, if it just let's say it just for whatever reason came out tomorrow and we picked it, we'd probably go, this is a good game. But for anybody that's been following it and backing it, they'll probably be like, this isn't in. They said this was in. I paid $80 for this. But it's probably not going to be as feature complete as people are expecting it to be now in 2018 when it comes out in 2022. Heard it here first.
That's my words.
Like you say, but I don't know. I reckon it'll be all right at least.
I think there's going to be something there, right? There's got to be something interesting there, like No Man's Sky. As much as that was slated for whatever reason, failing for all kinds of reasons, failing to fulfill promises and stuff. It was just it was still interesting as if you weren't invested in it and if you hadn't bought it and if you hadn't got caught up in all the hype. It's definitely one of them games that people who aren't interested in games, when you tell them about it, they think, wow, that's interesting, that's unusual. And this is a similar kind of thing. In terms of sheer scope, obviously it's trying to be a bit more ambitious even than No Man's Sky in terms of how robust it all is, how many things and systems are going to be in it. Proper MMO type character building and getting a ship and telling your own kind of story, building up a character, all of that stuff on top of a giant, galaxy-sized kind of
it almost seems like they've just said to everything. Like everything you think they've gone, I haven't, seen something that you'd imagine a game like that would have that they've said there's none of this in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They've said yes to everything, and for that reason, that's probably where people will start realizing, oh, they're going to have to make some sacrifices at some point, because you can't have a game with all of this in. Surely not.
It's so. I mean, you see the demos and stuff. It's really promising. It's really exciting, and you try. But I try to keep it at arm's length, not because of I don't believe it's going to be huge, but because it's so far away, and it's like I'm excited about Death Stranding. I'm excited about games that are far off, but generally I tend to try not to think about it is the best way I can put it, because otherwise I'd just be sitting there on edge waiting for it. So I'm just kind of detached myself from it. But you look at the demos, and for example, you're in your ship. You can get out of your ship, all in like first person or whatever, and you can see the world rendered in huge detail in front of you. You get out the cockpit of the ship, you get out your spacesuit on or whatever, you get out into space, float around in space, go up to a wreckage, explore the wreckage in first person. You might do some first person shooting combat in there. They show you everything. None of it is like a text pop-up. You don't just bump into some space rubble and it goes, it tells you like a CRPG little story about what happened there. It actually just shows you, and it's rendered, and it's so all that is very, very ambitious. So it's just one that I don't think anyone could call it at this stage. I don't think any industry analyst is going to sit there going, this is going to be a car crash, or this is going to be the biggest game of all time. Because it's just too early. As simple as that, I think.
It's got the potential to be one of like the biggest events in gaming history if everything goes right. But
there's a lot riding on it.
I mean, it's still an alpha, isn't it? So it's got a long way to go. Yeah.
And that big 3.0 update was obviously, I mean, it was huge, but again, it's still, it doesn't really give you a full sense of what the game's going to be either. So it's very early doors. The best analogy, I think, is for that kind of hype and building up expectation and stuff is obviously the snowball effect. Keep snowballing, people get really anxious and excited to play it. But then when it's something like this, I always see it as like the snowball, the giant avalanche kind of snowball has kind of bounced into the air, and it could come back down and disintegrate and just be snow again, or it could bounce back, pick up even more snow, be even bigger snowball. So you look
it's all up in the air right now.
It's up in the air. Think about that. No one's ever come up with that before. But it's because the enthusiasm and stuff. You look at like Fortnite or something. That is out and playable, and it is what it is already. And then that all that does is it just keeps snowballing. Whereas this is kind of everyone's in suspense. Everyone's just waiting to see what it is. Some people are playing it, saying it's great. Some people are saying I feel ripped off. So there's like. Yeah, it's just this tension and there's just this huge anxiety around it. So I don't know, Vince, is the answer. Neither do these guys. No. So sorry, but we'll get back to you in 2022. Thank you very much for your question. Caleb Husky asks, do you think the casualization, in inverted commas, of many modern games is a bad thing? Many game series have been simplified over the years in order to reach a wider audience. Elder Scrolls, for example. As a PC gamer, it's also frustrating to see some games simplified for the controller. Skyrim's UI is horrible on PC. This makes the developer more money, but it's frustrating for long-term fans. So there's a big one here. Do we think the casualization, first of all, is a bad thing for modern games? Broadly speaking, no, I don't. I just want more people to play games, and I want more people to talk to about games. So.
Yeah, Kulkowski is like saying about Skyrim and stuff. Well, first of all, strongly disagree with that, because you can just mod it on a PC. There's loads of UI overhauls.
Oh,
and you might say, well, I shouldn't have to do that. But if you're that arsed, it's free. You can find free if you're playing it on Steam. You can find free UI overhauls for the PC. I played it the first time on PC, didn't have any problems with it. But then again, I don't know. I played it on the console, and sure, it is a lot. In fact, it feels worse on the console menu-wise, because you've got your D-pad for your favourites, and then every time you want to do anything else, you have to keep opening the menu. Been playing Elder Scrolls games for years and years, and didn't find this one particularly, what did he say, casualised or whatever. So I guess I don't see where you're coming from with that, but I can see what you mean about franchises being, turned. That's where this resentment for like dumbed down casual gaming comes from. It's from people that like are passionate about series of games that then change, and like because they feel like it's ours and you're taking it away and you're giving it to them, but they don't deserve it because they don't even like games that much. I don't know what that voice is. That's what I imagine they sound like. But like that's what you can see where it comes from, right? Yeah. And if it was like fresh games for casuals, then it probably wouldn't be as offensive to those that feel like if Half-Life 3 came out and it had like loads of pop-ups. Here's the tutorial, or Dark Souls. Bloodborne 2 was announced at E3. Let's do a Bloodborne mention. It's been about 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's way overdue.
And you're about to attack, and it was like a pop-up was like, R1 is a quick attack. R2 is like, remember to hit them in the back. It breeds this resentment. So I can see what he's saying, but I don't think it's that much of a problem. And wouldn't you rather have more people to talk to about your game, or would you rather have like your 10 hardcore fans all doing this, like Mr. Burns, like going, can't believe they didn't beat Pontiff Sullivan first time. But so I can see both sides. I disagree on the Skyrim, but the rest of it, totally, I can see what you mean.
Do you think modern games are too casualized, Liam?
No, not at all. I think it's a good thing. Like as game design gets better, things just get more streamlined and smoother. That's just how it is.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely
using
true.
Elder Scrolls as an example, the lockpicking in Oblivion compared to Skyrim, it's much better in Skyrim. It's more intuitive. It handles better. Yeah, it's just an example. I think it's just game design getting better, more accessible, rather than casualization or dumbing down.
I agree with you there, and I always see a kind of correlation from when you see casualization or dumbing down, it's always from PC game controls to console controls to the controller, and I think the main reason for that is a game in 2002 is probably less complicated in terms of what's going on compared to a game from 2017, 2018. But a controller has basically stayed exactly the same. Like the PlayStation 2 DualShock is you could use that on PS4, and it'd still it'd be fine.
Pretty like for like.
PS1 even, of course. So it was on that as well. So I think so. That's the one thing. The controller has stayed the same. But games have kind of got a little bit more complicated and advanced, and you've got more menus, and they're more RPG-ish a lot of the time. So something that's just an action beat-em-up in 2002 is now an action beat-em-up with RPG mechanics and an open world. So there's more things to put on the screen, which is where a lot of that horrible controls thing comes from, because they have to design the UI for all their menus and stuff for the controller, because that's who's going to buy most of the game. So that's how I think it is. When people say it's dumbed down, it's usually because the game has, you look at Geralt when you're pressing the attack button, because on controller it's difficult to turn around and hit attack, so he just kind of turns around, and if you're pulling the stick in one direction, just a vague behind him kind of direction, and you hit attack, he just spins around and attacks the guy automatically. But a PC gamer wants to do all of that themselves. So that's I think that's all it is control and input, and there are ways around that, like you said, with UI. For Skyrim, for example, you can get a really good UI mod that's free for you in Bethesda.
There's tons of overhauls, and there's also overhauls for controller inputs and for making things more mouse and keyboard. Loads of fixes. Luckily, the community with the most problems and gripes about stuff like this, or the PC community, are also a hard-working bunch when it comes to mods. So, I mean, there's a lot of these problems, but the good news is the people that are the casual gamers can enjoy it, and then the people that are bit more hardcore can just download the free mod, and it's literally, I know it seems like a bit of an inconvenience, but it can be a couple of clicks away in Steam Workshop, and then actually you sort it. And you might not think you have to do that, but if you having to click a couple more buttons so thousands and thousands of people aren't as able to enjoy it as you can enjoy it, then it's just a sacrifice you've got to take for the greater good, my boy.
And I also think the PC gamers are kind of spoiled in terms of the pure amount of games that you've got. And if you think a game is too casual or whatever, or too dumbed down for you, there are so many games on PC that aren't. There are plenty of games that are difficult to get into and really, if you think No Man's Sky is too casual, don't worry, play Elite Dangerous, because you have to fucking do a whole landing procedure on that game or whatever if you want to test it out. So you've got more options, and you've got the pure fact that you can, like we said, you can mod stuff. Yeah. But also, I think the fact that things have moved on a lot as well. You look at a UI from back in the day compared to what you've got in like Far Cry 5 or something. It's much, much better. It's so much more immersive. And not having like health bars everywhere and fucking loads of words and numbers on the screen at all times, and all, you know, things like that have improved and moved forward. But so it's not all. It's easy to see the things that have gotten worse, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and adding to that, it's something I might have brought up in a podcast before, but I'm like a firm believer about this with all forms of media, music especially. But yeah, and I'm sure if you're somebody that disagrees with Mike, you're already thinking of 5 standout games from 2004 that did it really well. Well, actually, Half-Life 2 was really immersive. And you're right, people only remember the games from 2004 that were that good because they were good. But for every Half-Life 2, there was 20, 30 completely shit games with shit UIs, but now the average game has a good UI, and in 2002 the average game had quite a messy UI.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is disregard the classics that we all know are classics like Half-Life 2 and stuff like that, and you know, try and remember that there was also shit games back in the day, but there was a lot less to work with, I think.
Yeah.
So,
on the whole, I don't think that things are getting dumbed down, and like you've always got the option to mod it up to a level that you want. There's just the mod that's come out for The Witcher 3, which actually just overhauls the combat to make it more PC gamer kind of hardcore,
which is cool.
Flavored, which is cool. Options. You can do that if you want. You can totally do that if you want. And you've got loads of games to choose from. But I hope that answers your question in some way. Thank you very much, Caleb Husky. That was a good question. Cheers. House of Frogs with a follow-up. We're kind of related. Hi guys, how are you doing? Not bad, House of Frogs. How are you?
Right, Frogs, thank you.
Could you call yourself a hardcore gamer if you don't own a PC setup and just own a console? I myself do own a decent PC setup, but admittedly prefer my PS4 and spend way more time on it. I would love to hear your thoughts. My first pointer would be, don't ever call yourself a hardcore gamer. Because what are you doing, mate? Just don't do that. But I mean, I don't know. I guess a serious gamer. Well, yeah, of course. If you play loads of. Yeah, I don't know.
What is that? You know, I'm in House of Frogs boat, right? You guys know my computer spec. It's alright, isn't it? It's okay. I love my PS4. Love it. Well, you know, I am having. We're playing Divinity Original Sin 2 at the moment, and that's one of the most fun co-op experiences I'm having ever, and that's on PC. Total War, really immersive, love it, and that's on PC. So I'm having really good time on some PC games. But generally, like if I want, in my head, when I think I want to play some games, I think PC or PS4. PS4 every day of the week, every day. And you know, and I guess this is a little bit, you know, just I'm cherry picking examples here, but play Bloodborne, play Neo, play some of these harder PlayStation games, and say that, you know, that's not hardcore. It doesn't matter. You know, you're not out to impress anyone, mate. Just don't let anyone on the internet with fucking 1080 Ti's tell you otherwise, innit? If you can be serious about gaming, it all starts in here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you're serious about gaming. And here. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if there's a soul I can point to, but also there. Right? It's all about what you think about. It depends if you're interested in gaming culture, if you're thinking about it. If you can't wait to get home to play a game, if you're in work, if you're thinking about it when you're at work and you think, I want to go and do that, then that qualifies for being a serious gamer, a hard game. You don't have to have like the latest equipment. That's just some weird classist fucking rich kid bullshit. Ignore all that. It's just about what you like doing, and if you like playing games a lot, that's it.
Also, if you want the hardcore gamer badge for fear of being called that's just a casual. If anyone goes, you're just a casual, just what the that's them. That's them. That's them being weird, and who does that? Why would you? I've never understood it. Even when I was even when I was like a kid and a teenager, and I just fucking never understood the kind of.
I knew one person like that in my high school that was like that, and he used to download wall hacks for Battlefield 2. What a bell end! Going around calling people not real gamers and then downloading cheats to be good at games.
Yeah.
I don't know what I mean. Like, not meaning to like psychoanalyze and tear the poor lad down, but what was wrong there?
Yeah.
Like, just enjoy some games, mate. Everyone else is talking about Oblivion, and he's like, you're not playing Battlefield. You're not. You know what I mean?
So there you go. I guess that's what we think about that. Liam, do you reckon he can call himself a hardcore gamer?
Of course you can. I mean, I had like friends in high school who we used to just play on Xbox 360 all the time.
Oh yeah.
And they were like 20, like, you know, weekend, Friday till like Sunday afternoon. They would just be on the Xbox constantly. And I'd say they were hardcore gamers.
Do you know what it is as well? I can't think of any, apart from like maybe if you did sports and you looked at athletes and went, God, they're so dedicated. I wish I was like them. I wish I could be that good. I don't think I've ever thought that about games where I've gone, man, I wish I had the spare time to spend 72 hours over a weekend playing a game non-stop, and I wish I was that good at that game. That's the closest comparison I can think of. I think that's, I don't know what the hardcore gamer badge means, really, is what I'm saying. Does it mean that you're just,
I suppose,
you've got more time?
To me, it means like you're just really into the whole like community aspect of it. You follow the news, you watch people on YouTube, Twitch streams.
That's just gamer to me, though. I don't know where the hardcore comes in.
Hardcore probably means you're up to date with the latest releases and you probably beat all the games, despite them being difficult or whatever.
Yeah.
Like Liam plays like Neo, he finished that when it came out. Cuphead finished that when it came out, just like that, didn't you? And that's
not that easily, but
you know what I mean. Like you weren't like 6 months sitting on it, and so I'd consider that as hard as you can get. Finishing releases within a month that they come out, keeping up to date with everything. I mean, obviously it's Liam's job, so it might be a bit different. But I'm imagining it'd probably be the same if he didn't work in the games media world. But like that is what I consider hardcore. Is just like a dedicated, basically.
Okay.
Dedicated.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll take that. In that case, back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. Don't worry about it. Hardcore gamer is generally is just a stupid phrase anyway. But if you're anxious about it, yes, you got PlayStation 4. You're sending a question into a gaming podcast who you are a patron supporter of. Don't worry about it.
You're a good House of Frogs.
Yes, good question.
Yeah,
and I hope that resolves the anxieties of anyone else who's thinking the same.
Sleep well
along
tonight,
the same
right?
lines of as House of Frogs. Just don't worry about it. Enjoy your games in it. Elkborn asks, "Hey guys, loving the podcast as always. Thank you very much. I've been praying for a Battle for Middle-earth 3 for a decade now. Ooh. Me too, brother. While I'd love a Total War version, I also love a solid base builder, and creating my own Lord of the Rings fortresses and towns was always epic. Are there any game series which haven't had an edition in a while or have been abandoned for newer IPs that you think deserve another game? Apart from Battle for Middle-earth 3,
Tenchu.
Dino Crisis,
Tenchu, and we know that Skate's coming. Skate.
Do we?
4, baby.
Is that confirmed, is it?
No, I mean, we know that's coming on the podcast. You know that I was going to say it.
Oh, right.
I'm assuming you know. Tenchu and Skate every time someone asks this question.
Onimusha
would be fucking good as well, you know.
I just assume if Skate 4 ever gets announced, she just won't show up for work the next day. I just
yeah.
And I'd be fine. I'd be like, why isn't Jake in? Oh,
everyone would.
Skate 4 was announced.
Skate 4 came out.
It's just expected at this point. Yeah, it'd be weird if that didn't happen, right? Surely. Do you know what I mean? And I just imagine it came out and I just didn't say anything about it.
Something beyond.
You just transcended. You just didn't need to say anything about it. You're just sitting there
That's
smiling.
what I was like with Divinity Original Sin 2. Remember, like a week before, I just didn't say anything about it. That's it. It's like, you know, when someone can scream so loud the human ear can't hear it. Sometimes I can hype so hard no one notices.
So hot it's cold, isn't it? That's it. Knights of the Republic. Knights of the Republic series. I mean, that's baffling. That is baffling to me that there's not been another Knights of the Republic. The Old Republic MMO just didn't do it for me. I just want another Knights of the Republic game.
People are familiar with that like style now, like Mass Effect and Dragon Age. That's like that style. Yeah.
And Star Wars has had the huge renaissance since the movie started.
Ongoing trilogy and spin-offs and whatnot in the cinemas and stuff. So like it doesn't make sense at all.
No, it could be amazing.
Then again, it is the company that did kill a single-player Star Wars game. If EA were to kill and close down Visceral Games, we don't just and then go back on it and then go, actually though, BioWare, you do it.
Speaking of Visceral, Dead Space.
Yeah.
Just give us another Dead Space.
Bring them back, baby.
I'm going to say something weird now, and I don't exactly know what I mean, but I do feel it. Okay, I enjoyed Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they didn't exist. I wish it was Dead Space 1.
Cult hit.
And I wish the whole thing
just ended there.
Just went in a different direction. Do you know what I mean? And I wish, it possibly ended there. Sequel's not out yet. I just wish it went somewhere else. And I did enjoy them, but I almost wish they were like spin-off titles or something, or if they were just same universe, different types of games. And if they were like, maybe like Resident Evil games that have got subheadings and a different like sub-series or something like that. Like that. Because another Dead Space game would be amazing, but a sequel to Dead Space 1
That
rather
style.
than Dead Space
Yeah.
3. You know what I mean? It's it's difficult to explain, but it's definitely I'd be on board with that. But Visceral Games is
No longer with us.
gone. So why am I wasting my breath? On the same tone as Knights of the Old Republic, Jade Empire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'd be good.
Ah, man.
Obviously, there's that big Fable rumor.
Fable.
Fable is like a huge one, I think.
Yeah, Fable's near the top of the list actually for me. I can't believe I forgot it. I would have said Star Wars Battlefront before.
That's not going very well, is it?
No,
No.
it's not. But I definitely would have before that. I was just clamouring for it. I really wanted another Battlefront game. I think a lot of people were, but they just kind of forget because of all of the
Stuff.
because the games came out.
Yeah.
One of the Chrono Trigger game. We had 2 of them, but that was it.
Chrono Trigger and Dino Crisis. I reckon that one of them will happen. Surely, probably not Dino Crisis.
More likely Chrono Trigger would get another game than Dino Crisis.
Yeah.
I can dream.
My I'm gonna go with you, Elkborn, here though. I'm gonna say that the top of my list is Battle for Middle-earth 3.
That would be very,
What
very,
about Lord
very
of the Rings
cool.
Conquest? Did you know about that?
Yeah, it was okay. I mean,
Which one was
it
Conquest?
was no Battle for
Top
Middle-earth.
down?
It was
no.
It was
It was
like
Battlefront.
original Battlefront. But
Oh,
with Lord of the
yeah,
Rings.
And it was like you were Urukai, but you were just throwing axes,
Yeah,
and
the
it was
old
like
school.
it was all right. It was a bit of a laugh, I suppose, but it was it was kind of a game from a different era almost. I think I don't know how it would work now. It'd be a bit like For Honor or something, I suppose.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? It'd be that kind of.
Yeah, I guess so.
Could work. It could work.
With the the Lord of the Rings TV show coming, there'll be an interesting IP again.
Yeah.
Maybe games developers will look at. I'm talking about this like Shadow of War doesn't exist, but maybe
It fucking doesn't, mate. That's
Thank
why.
you.
Come at me in the comments.
we'll have a huge Battle for Middle-earth 3 would be wicked, or the classic, which we have mentioned quite a lot lately, but the grand strategy Lord of the Rings game, Total War.
Total War.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
In
got-
a
it's got
RTS vein again. Command and Conquer. Bring that back.
So weird that a game that big isn't even part of it.
Yeah.
Command and Conquer was so
dead.
good.
That's kind of the same as Dead Space though. The series is just morphed and stuff, and it's like a tactic. Like Command and Conquer 4 was like a weird
Command and
game.
Conquer 4 wasn't great.
But yeah, that would be cool. And what's happened with that game as well is that there's been so many Kickstarter projects where former devs from was it Westwood Studios and stuff like that have
That's
just
what Grey Goo was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
and then you've got
Forged Battalion.
more recently and stuff, which is in early access, I think. And they've tried to recapture it, and that's happened a fair bit. And that's the kind of thing you get with like the old school CRPGs where you've got Pillars and Divinity, which really capture the essence of what they were, but they're not sequels or anything.
Yeah.
But what a good question. Thanks, Elkborn. That was enjoyable to answer. Jason Jackson asks, "Hey guys, greetings from Paris."
Hello.
Nice one.
Awesome.
Jason, you on holiday? Or is that a French name? What do you guys think about Microsoft's disability controller? I think it's great as it shows that Microsoft are thinking about the community as a whole and not just the players.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's really cool, that, isn't it? The accessibility controller, because you've got this. How many, fucking 20 things in the
A lot,
back?
yes. It was just high teens. I think it was about
you can
17,
plug
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
It's one for every input, I think. So
Yeah.
every button on the controller, you can plug something like an accessibility device into it.
it's wicked. If you've seen it, I've seen it in action, looking at different people with various disabilities or whatever using it, and seeing how from somebody with just one arm to somebody with no arms to somebody who's in a wheelchair with very limited mobility using it. 3 completely different disadvantages there in life, and they're using it in their own way, really customizable, and they're playing games as you would with 2 hands and complete mobility. So I think anyone that doesn't like this is really missing a point, I think. And the fact that Xbox are doing it is making everyone else look all of a sudden quite selfish, because it's all of a sudden it's kind of like, you know what I mean, like there's 2 buildings next to each other, one of them's got a wheelchair ramp, the other one's like, oh fuck, now we're the bad guys. I bet Sony are kind of going, right, what can we do now? But at the same time, it's not something like how the PlayStation's got that middle button and the Xbox are like, well, we're not doing that, it's fucking shit. Sony are going to have to commend them and then make something equivalent, I think, or else they'll be really losing out next gen.
It's a huge achievement, I think. I was really excited about it, and you're definitely right. It sets a precedent now. Everyone else has got a joy. It feels like they should already have them in the works. I guess, like, just seeing this, and they should already be working on it. I like the way that this has kind of developed over time. It's been really slow when you think about it. It's been far too long coming. But you've had, like, colorblind features and stuff creeping into games and things, where you can change the color settings of UI and things so it's clearer for colorblind people and stuff. So it has been happening slowly for a while, and then they've been kind of paying lip service to it with like Microsoft Connect and stuff, where you could just use gestures and stuff, so more people could get involved with the games that way. But this is actually just a proper solution, and it doesn't cost thousands of pounds or thousands of dollars like a lot of the disability kind of accessories and tools can. So this is kind of how much is it? It's about $80.
$99.99
for the thing, right? Yeah, so it's about £80 for the thing. And then you buy the accessories on top of it, and that's like, it could be
But they
anything.
can be third party, you can't either.
Third party, yeah. And they could be, blowing into it and stuff, and all
stuff that you might already have.
Yeah,
as well,
just various ways of controlling it, which is great. And the response has been really emotional, like emotionally positive. Like a lot of people saying, "I can't believe this has happened," and this feels like they've designed it just for me and just for my kind of specific disability, which says a lot. If people with specific disabilities think this is for me, when it's meant to be for all kinds of stuff. So that's a great, huge achievement. Microsoft should be massively congratulated, and sets a bar, doesn't it? Sets a bar for everyone else. So that's what we think. Jason Jackson from Paris. Totally Not a Cop asks, what are your opinions on educational video games, and do you think more schools should integrate them into their courses?
They're good. I like them. Great idea. A lot of schools now use Minecraft and stuff, don't they, to teach computer programming, arts and crafts, all that.
Yeah.
I think it will become a thing. I think soon you'll have history teachers showing off, the Assassin's Creed Origins thing,
the tour,
that Discovery Tour thing, whatever it is. Yeah, I think it'll be good.
I think you build these. If Ubisoft spends so much money building a virtual world like ancient Egypt, and all you do in that world is stab people in the throat, it's a bit of a waste of the world that you've created, and they've recognised that. Turned it into a virtual museum, which is brilliant, really good, good idea, and I think this is really positive. And again, it's a step, isn't it? So it's kind of moving things in that direction. Yeah. What do you reckon, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know if when this guy meant educational games, was a guy, right?
Totally Not a Cop. So all we know is not a cop.
I don't know, it could be a police officer. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, I didn't know if you meant like specific games for school. Like, I remember when I was in high school, there was this, like, my IT lessons were pretty much this game where you had to like go all the way through the alphabet. Like, it was different. It was basically just learning to get to grips with computers, and I think
designed for the classroom.
Yeah, one of them was just typing, and it was like learning to touch.
Yeah, we had them in my maths class.
Yeah, it's hard to describe what they are, right? But like, there were definitely school tools that were a school tool first, a game second.
Yeah.
But using like actual games, like you were saying then, like Ellie, who's 6, plays Minecraft in school. And then she gets home. We played Minecraft the other day, and I said, "Oh, have you seen a creeper before?" No, they don't have the monsters and shit in their version. But she's using it to like learn about building stuff, like using the red powder wire stuff to make. So I think it's really cool. It's just like, thinking about it as like, using Lego or something like that to build, but you don't have to put it all away.
Yeah.
It can be something like that with Minecraft, or something like history based, like what you were saying with Assassin's Creed. I think it's cool.
I mean, simulators is a big part of it as well, where you've got you've got a simulator for everything these days, right? Yeah. But it can. Remember
the train simulator?
Oh my god!
Yeah. The go button and that.
So it's been a long time since like airline pilots and ship captains and stuff like that, and have been using simulators to learn their trade and learn how to do it without actually flying a jet, which is very expensive. So there's education in terms of not just classroom education, but
vocational,
actual vocational training. So the video games are just seeping into like just society, aren't they? In that way as well. You look at something like Crusader Kings 2 or something as well, which has like this timeline feature on it where you can see the history of Europe. Essentially playing out and you in front of you, and you can see territory changing hands, people dying, people getting murdered, people princes getting born and whatever, and arranged marriages and stuff. So you can look at a game like that, which is probably a bit more fun for a classroom than just sitting there reading from a textbook or having a bit of a textbook read out to them. So I guess they could get a bit more creative with how they use it in the classroom, but it's good. It's good stuff, isn't it? Thanks, Totally Not a Cop. One more question before Fact of the Week. This comes from a person called Pretty Good Question for PGG. Very on brand. Yeah, I've been a long time Xbox fan. I can remember every marketing campaign, big IP and UI update in existence. But these past few years haven't seen a lot of positive PR for games. Should I go to PS4 just for the games? You're not a PlayStation fanboy, are you? Assuming you're not, honest question, should you move from an Xbox, should I go to PS4 just for the games? I don't know if you mean here that you've got to trade in your Xbox or sell it in order to be able to buy your PlayStation. If that's the case...
If you have to. Depends, doesn't it?
Just look at the games. Always just look at the games. If you want to play the games that are on the Xbox, have an Xbox. If you want to play old, and that people talk about exclusives all the time. Us as well. We point out the fact that there aren't enough Microsoft exclusives, but you can't play Red Dead Redemption on the PlayStation 4 without paying a monthly subscription for PlayStation Now and have it streamed.
Which isn't great anyway.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Which isn't good.
Xbox is great if you like games of the last 2 generations. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean?
It's the selling point, man. I've been looking at it thinking,
it's
I want to play Viva Pinata.
Yeah, it is true. Like, there's lots of, it sounds snidey when I just said it then, but I mean it. Like, if you're a patient gamer, one of those people that like, maybe you're new to gaming and you want to try out, see what this Half-Life 2 everyone's fucking talking about is about, right? You're gonna love Xbox for backwards compatibility, especially if you can pick up games cheap and like CEX if you're in the UK or Europe or something. It's second-hand shops basically. Yeah. But have a look at this. If you're interested in playing games of this gen, if you want the cutting-edge graphics on a console, Xbox One has got them. But the games that they're utilising the technology for is like Sea of Thieves and stuff. I'm a PS4 fanboy pretty much. I really, really enjoyed their exclusives, and like Bloodborne, The Last of Us Remastered, and God of War is like worth the price of the PS4
Some
alone.
of my favourite games.
And there's some flipping wild good games, depending on you've probably played The Witcher, but you could get that on there. Like there's Persona 5, which is cool. There's loads of good shit on there. That's the thing. Just Google the PS4 exclusives and read about some of them. Some cool article online probably has all that information on there already, and just see if that takes your fancy. You might not like third-person narrative-driven games because a lot of them are that sort of thing, but I would say if you have to trade one in though, just figure out what you're losing out on.
What do you reckon, Liam?
Nah, I'm in agreement with Jake there. Just look up what the games are. If there's enough that take your fancy, even if you don't want to trade in your console, you can wait for a sale. PS4 goes on sale quite often for quite a decent amount. Yeah. So it's more accessible than ever at the minute and affordable.
I would say I would join you there in saying if you can, just keep it, and even if not for if you think you only need one console, trust me, you're going to miss it, right? You're going to get rid of it, and then in a while you're going to be like, damn, that's a good game that Microsoft have got coming out. I wish I could play that.
Photos of you in the Xbox, wondering where that time went.
Exactly. Some sad music. Get like if you've got like I don't know how old you are, but since you're asking this kind of thing, just get a job that earns you enough money to be able to buy a second one. This is the best recommendation.
Earn more money in life. That's basically
Stay put with. I would say look at the games that you want, but generally just kind of stay put with Xbox. And if you want to get a PlayStation, you get one of them as well. Because I've always sold and traded my consoles, and I've regretted it quite a few times. Like I was just saying, I want to play Viva Pinata, or I want to play Battle for Middle Earth I've got that going on a PC now. But I want to play these Xbox games that I just can't play. The 360 games and stuff. That if I had an Xbox One, I could play them. Or if I hadn't sold my 360, I could play them.
The PS4 versus the PS4 Pro, that's another big thing. Because they're cheap if you get a vanilla PS4. Don't worry about
you don't need a Pro if you're not that arsed.
I haven't got one. I don't feel like I'm missing out at all. These guys record footage on their PS4 Pro and looks a bit better. don't think it would be worth
Yeah,
the price of
it's
like you
just
could probably buy
resolution.
2 older PS4 games for the price difference, and you'll probably have a better time on that.
Yeah.
I can't say the same for the Xbox One X because that is a more substantial
Yeah, it's a
improvement
bigger
over the
jump,
base
sure.
Xbox One. But there you go. That's not a very robust answer there for you. A mix of stay put, look at the list of games that are on both
Get a different
platforms,
job or
get a
something.
better job, get a job if you're like a teenager, if you're like 16 or something, and you're just using like birthday money or
It's that
handouts
easy.
from your parents.
It's that easy.
Honestly, get a job because you've got no outgoings, man. You're just spending it
Go
all
into a
on
shop,
games.
can I have a job please? And I'll go, yeah.
Yeah.
And they say, hang on a minute, what's that for? And you go, oh look, I've got an Xbox and I want to get a PS4 and I've heard that's the best way to get it. And they just go, okay, when can you start?
Yeah, I mean, you probably get paid like £3 an hour or
that
something in
easy.
the UK, but it's you have a lot of money to just piss away on shit like second consoles. So there you go. Fact of the week then. Can we have the jingle, please? Right, so this one is in honour of a pretty big video game release this week. The Black Knight Greatsword in the 2011 video game Dark Souls has a completely different name in the German release of the game, where it is instead called Sword of the Dragon Slayer. Now this could be a reference to the popular manga and anime Berserk from 1997. The main character wields a Dragon Slayer sword to kill demons, which is represented in-game as a damage bonus against demon bosses.
These are getting too good, you know.
That's too interesting.
You need to be careful, man.
Since
You want a slippery fucking slope,
the
Williams. and
director, the director of Dark Souls fucking loves Berserk as well.
yeah.
He said it's one of his favourite franchises ever.
I did look at one fact, potential fact for Dark Souls, which was essentially saying that like this bit of DLC was free on the PC. And I had that in there, right? But then,
That's too good.
yeah, but do you know what I mean?
Aye. Well,
I
do you know
wanted
what
to
else
share
is
that.
really good?
Dead Cred
The
Redemption.
brand new feature. Is it not brand new at the moment? It's just new, I guess. Well, like
It's
3
still
weeks
got
now.
that new car smell.
Yeah, but what is it for those at home that don't know?
Well, I don't know. I don't know where Mike Abbott's going to have put the jingle there. Maybe immediately after I said Dead Cred Redemption. If not, if you want to spare one, Mike, here, have this one. Dead Cred Redemption. So you can put it there if you want in that little pause after I said it
Think
there.
I like that.
It's up to you. That's a little
don't
bit of
like that.
editing meta there for the listeners. Dead Cred Redemption. So this is a new feature that we started a couple of weeks ago, and we get anonymous confessions sent in from our patrons, and then we get a whole second wave of them on a Monday when the podcast goes live to the public. We have had loads. You've got a lot to get off your chest, guys. This is a lot of stuff. So it's been difficult to sift through them and pick the best, to be honest. And it's getting competitive. So if you want your story read out, make it a good one and email it to gaming@goliath-media.com.
Nice.
It's getting to the point now where I'm just kind of I'm going through all the emails right at the moment. So
Get good at writing and shit.
yeah, that's just
be
That
good.
easy.
solid life advice, right? So here's a tip for you that I've noticed this week. I do like a bit of detail. Okay, so I've had a few one sentence.
It's a list of my
I've had a few one sentence submissions. No, I'm just giving them pointers. If you want to get I'm going to read one of them out next week. But if you want to up your chances, I'm just saying, give me about 3 sentences minimum. All right, and give me just. Take me on a journey. Give me an arc. Start me at one place. Finish me off in a completely surprising twist at the end. Right. That's the. Imagine.
You could have used better words to write.
There you go.
So you've had about 30 odd submissions, which is works out about 4 a day. A constant
I think it's
barrage.
slightly over 30 actually, but
It's a lot though, isn't it?
It is
A lot of people that've got a lot of they've got a lot of ball and chain. We need to free some people.
yeah.
So let's get into it.
Let's get started.
I'm excited.
This is Dead Cred Redemption. I'm afraid I've hyped it up a little bit too much there. This is gonna be all right. I'm gonna lower the stakes. This is gonna be a crap one.
Oh,
This is gonna be a bad.
Okay.
It's just so rubbish. All right, here we go. When I was about 7 years old, my uncle lived in our house. We were both enjoying Banjo-Kazooie on the Nintendo 64 and playing our way through it together. He stayed up until 5 a.m. one night, crit pathing through the story. And as a 7-year-old, I was jealous of him, beating me to the final boss. So being the sly little shit that I was, I deleted his save file with his entire game's progress on it. I told him and my parents it was an accident, and I've been wanting to get this off my chest for 18 years. So I don't know if who that person is, if they're going to make them watch this section of the podcast, or are you going to...
Well, actually, I feel that could be a good path to redemption.
Yeah,
maybe
definitely.
Show your uncle this.
Show your uncle this bit of the podcast.
Yeah. Hopefully you're not estranged, or else that would be a weird sort of... you
haven't spoken.
Hi, Uncle Pete. No, we've not spoken in 18 years, but listen, there's something.
Do you remember when I accidentally deleted that game save that you'd been...
I feel like it's he'll put his hand on his shoulder and go, "It's okay, I knew."
I
knew all along.
Yeah, I knew.
Your dog uncle would have known all along. And if you listen,
they'll
Uncle,
have a cry, a hug, and everything will be better.
So that's how you redeem your dead cred for this one. Tell your uncle or show him this bit of the podcast. Yeah. Thank you very much for your submission. If you want to send in your confessions, send it in, like I said, gaming@goliath-media.com, and we'll read them out. Let's move on with the podcast. Questions part 2.
Okay.
Elliot Gardner asks, "Hey lads, 20-year-old student here. I'm wondering if any of you guys went to university. If you did, how did you manage your work, game, social life balance? Because I seriously struggle sometimes."
We have the exact same question minus the uni thing last week, right? So you guys went to uni.
This is specifically for university students, which I'm going to be honest, I found I had a lot of time in university to play games.
In my first year, I had a hell of a lot of spare time in my first year. But not so much my second and final.
Did you work in uni as well? Did you have a job?
Nah, I was lazy fuck.
I worked in HMV. In my second and third years, I worked in HMV, which is like a media retail shop in the UK. And so I had a weekend job, and I didn't have that many contact hours in my degree. It was like I was doing English and stuff. So a lot of it was just like, oh, yeah, go read this entire book by next week. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, sure, mate, I'll read the Wikipedia entry. So there's a lot of that. And for that reason, I ended up playing the shit out of Battlefield 3, for example. Mm-hmm. That was one of the kind of big PC games I was playing at the time. So I didn't have too much trouble because my course and my degree stuff, I would consistently put on the back burner so I could play games or go to HMB and earn a bit of money. What about you, Liam? What was your experience like?
I was kind of the opposite. I didn't have a part-time job or anything, but I always put my work first. Mm-hmm. And I sort of like did it in... this is not the best way to do it all, but I would do an essay in one single sitting. Which I did that as well. It's not good advice. No. I don't recommend doing that. But I always put the work first, then social life, and then probably games last. Yeah. But I did have a lot of time. I got through a lot of games. I put 70 hours into Ni no Kuni on the PS3. I used to go to game quite a lot with friends, and we used to get used games and just play them. Yeah. And I had the safety of knowing I'd done all my work, so I could kick back and relax a bit. Yeah. So that's all I can say, really. Just put your work first.
Yeah.
Wow. Good advice.
Yeah, and social life, if you want to, because if that's the 1/3 of the equation, mm-hmm. Liam just kind of mentioned it there a little bit. Do stuff with you, factor that in. So if you want to play a lot of games.
Luckily for me, pretty much all my friends in uni play games, so that's what we could do.
There you go. Then university is great for clubs and societies and whatever, and there's definitely going to be multiple video games.
There's a gaming society in my uni.
Exactly. So you can factor that into your balance there. I hope that helps Elliot Gardner and anyone else who's in uni and currently struggling to find time to play games. Stephen with a V Hughes asks, did any of the PGG crew play 13? If so, would you like to see a sequel?
I did play it. Played it around my mate's house.
This was a PS2 game, wasn't it?
I played the Xbox version.
Okay. That generation.
That era,
I remember it on PS2 because I played it on PS2, I think. Because I went to Xbox after having... I had PS2 for most of that generation. Mm-hmm. Then went to Xbox. It was on GameCube as well, right?
It was, yeah.
So this... And it was... If you don't remember it... it's orange.
Shaded. It was cell shaded. That's
what orange and cell shaded.
Famous
that cell shaded first person shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah. I thought it was cool. From Ubisoft.
Would you like to see a sequel?
Not first.
Um,
I think I played like a demo. I don't think I played.
Oh, okay.
Bit more optimistic than Jake. A sequel would be cool, but if one doesn't happen, I wouldn't be bothered about it.
You won't get emotional.
No, not gonna break down or anything.
I'm gonna be honest, Stephen, with the Hughes, I totally forgot that I played it until you asked the question. So no, I'm not that asked. I mean, there are certain games.
Tepid response across the board, really.
There are certain games from back in the day, like Beyond Good and Evil and whatnot, that which is getting a sequel, and that does get a certain reaction. I suppose it would get some kind of cult I
think if Ubisoft announced it at E3 this year, there would be quite a lot of people excited.
There would be kind of like that sounds alright, actually.
Do you know what did that? Rage.
Yeah.
It's the
but
same.
Then the trailer was annoying as hell.
It'll be the same as Rage. People go, yeah, actually, I did enjoy that, I
mean, I reinstalled Rage on Steam, played it for a few hours, and I was like, yeah, I still like this.
Yeah.
I'd be down for a sequel.
There'd be a lot of that. So that's all I can say about. That's all I can say.
It's so funny that that's everyone's reaction. Yeah, but then the trailer is like and everyone's like wild and energetic, and everyone's like, yeah, all right.
I tell you what, if Ubisoft announce a 13 to whatever or 14, I don't know.
Yeah, this is a Final Fantasy.
I don't know. Yeah. And then they put it on Xbox backwards compatibility, the original. I'd do well.
I reckon it would be a good spiritual successor subject, where if it wasn't exactly a sequel, but a similar kind of thing with similar kind of stuff going on, that'd be. What was it? What was the story? Like you had amnesia or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're like an
amnesiac.
Like an assassin with amnesia.
Yeah, Jason Bourne situation.
Very Jason Bourne-ish.
So that's what we think, Stephen. I'm sorry that we're not more excited about 13. Easty Loves Games says, just signed up as a Patreon. Been watching for a while, so they've got a backlog of questions. I have noticed a lot of channels that deal with news and topics do not tend to cover much in the way of fighting games, even more recent stuff like Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, or Capcom possibly dropping Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, or new releases like BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. Is it because they are seen as niche, or that there are channels that focus solely on that genre? Keep up the great work. Well, thank you very much for joining us on Patreon, first of all. Why don't more channels cover fighting games? I reckon people think channels can be a little bit intimidated because of the
fighting game community.
The fighting game community, the high level of you've got to know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. You've got all that stuff. So if it's probably not worth the aggro to step into it and be like, oh, this fighter's had the balance changes and such. And for someone in the because you'll just cop a load of shit. So it might be a bit of that. Do you guys have any theories?
I think it is partly because there's the fighting game community, and there are a lot of channels dedicated to that. Like Maximilian,
well
Twitch
catered to already, aren't they?
Yeah, he's really into the whole fighting game scene.
Yeah,
and he could tell you more than I think any of us ever could about fighting games.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's just it's got its own specialty. Market, I guess.
Yeah, it has, isn't it? Kind of more so than other games. I don't.
Because of the competitiveness as well, though, it becomes that esportsy type thing as well, where just the meta of people beating each other and stuff, and what characters are doing, are the best to use and stuff.
It's like the Smash community.
There's a sports element to it,
right?
Generally.
Entire channels dedicated to Smash. Isn't
it? So Liam's right with Maximilian's. Well, I think.
There's others as well, but he's probably
and then there's
notable.
It's weird though that even though there's specialists in it, broad news channels don't seem to focus on it. It's kind of, it is true. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is niche. I don't really know anyone that plays fighting games apart from Liam plays Tekken a lot.
And that's the only one I play.
Yeah,
I haven't played Tekken.
I play a fair bit of Mortal Kombat, but that's probably the most casual one, I guess, out of all of them, because it's the most. Well, it must be because I play it a lot. And Ezekiel Clark with the last question of the podcast. When I listen to podcasts at home, I have certain games I enjoy playing where I don't have to pay attention to the game audio, but rather the podcast. What are some of your favourite games that would be good for that?
This is good.
Destiny.
Okay.
I'm doing it with Hyrule Warriors at the minute on the Switch.
Yeah.
I can just put something on in the background while I cut down waves of goblins and shite. Grinding in RPGs as well, if I've got grind out a few levels and I'm not doing anything story specific, I put on like a podcast or whatever, and just while I'm leveling up.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
I don't ever do it really, but don't ask me why, and it is absolutely no disrespect to the game at all, because I really like it. But I did do it with Sleeping Dogs. For some reason, I was listening to like sports podcasts about rugby and stuff like that while I was just doing like martial arts in Sleeping Dogs, which is a really good game. And I really enjoy it, and I'm not for the whole time. Just I think it's because it was open and it was just, and it's really light, and it's like, oh, drive here, beat someone up, go over here, do like some kung fu lessons or something like that, and you know, it's just very entertaining. To, you know, like a passive way sometimes in the open world bits where you're just driving around and having a bit of fun. Yeah. So for that game, I just listened to some podcasts.
Yeah, there's loads of like visual stuff on Sleeping Dogs, isn't there? Like
prompts,
literally like fucking arrows. Appear and point where to
press
go.
Square, press, and the fighting is very visually cued, isn't it?
I always have subtitles on like everything I watch, and so even on games. So like a lot of the time, I will turn the audio off games and put Spotify on my PlayStation, or the music setting in the settings. Ni no Kuni, when I was grinding out and like getting people for my like Evermore, the Kingdom. I had that on. Sleeping Dogs did it with recently. Rayman, when I was going back levels, getting the what they called like the little hoodlum things. Getting that. What else have I done it with recently? Fallout 4. I played loads of it again on Sunday. Started it again. Diamond City Radio. I forgot about the guy being like so anxious, and it was doing my head in after like an hour. So I turned it off and put on Spotify again or a podcast. And you know what? Have I told you the thing about Bloodborne? Like when I was playing Old Hunters DLC, podcast to help me. When I when I struggle on it, but like Lady Maria for some reason was like the boss that I died the most to, and I kept dying. And then I put on like Mark Kimmo's like films of 2018, like part 1 or something, and I was focusing on that and just playing it, and I beat it. I don't know. Sometimes it helps to like disassociate, because I get really tense and panicky on like horror games and stuff like that, like Resident Evil.
Well, Bloodborne tries to. Well, so does Dark Souls, obviously, but because you were talking about Bloodborne, Bloodborne, it just screams. The music just screams at you. The enemies scream and howl at you when you first enter the boss lair and stuff. They really try and intimidate you. And like the very first boss in the game, the Cleric Beast.
Horrible sound, very cool.
It's meant to terrify you.
Screech.
It's actually not that hard to kill, but it seems like it's huge and flailing, loads of sound.
Big orchestral swelling music and stuff. And the thing is, you can hear every step you do, every time you get the trick blade or whatever. But when you've just got something else on, like for example, like a posh British man talking about what films he likes, you're just looking at the visual cues. And the thing about all these Souls games and stuff, Neo, by the way, I did nearly the whole game of Neo with no sound on, because everything's visual tells. Everything is. And Neo was kind of the same annoying noises over and over and over again. I think I played about the first 5 hours of Neo with sound on, and then the rest of it up until the boss. It's like Pokemon, the electric Pokemon one. Remember?
I don't know what you mean.
You know, like the dog one.
Is it
She was New, something like
that.
It is Nue, Nue, I think, and that is the last time I had sound on that game. I even did the last boss. Don't want to spoil it, but you know what I'm about. The one in the temple with no sound on. And I do enjoy that. I don't know why.
It takes that extracts the drama out of it, doesn't it?
I guess so. And what's so weird is that like I really love music and I really love sound design, and it really, really makes things pop for me. And like whenever I'm listening to a film, the soundtrack matters. And the reason that I listen to Spotify is because I want to listen to new music or something. So the fact that games can really, use music to like bind your experience into something quite special. The fact that a lot of the time I end up just listening to it depends.
That's like a life hack pro tip. That if you're struggling with Bloodborne bosses, put the music off because it's easier. Psychologically easier.
Focus on your visuals. But isn't it? I find that weird though that I'm so into like music and stuff and sound in general. But then with a lot of games, which is the medium I spend most of my time enjoying, even more than films and TV, I just start having like other stuff on a lot of the time.
But that's why I don't do it. That's because I want it. Even when I'm just sat in the office doing a bit of work, listening to music, a lot of the time I'm just listening to the soundtrack. I just soundtracks for the whatever game I'm playing recently. Even strategy games like Stellaris has got a phenomenal soundtrack. I love the video game soundtracks and sound and audio design and stuff. I love all that stuff, which is why I don't really listen to podcasts. But there you go. Those are some while I'm playing games. So there you go. So that's answer to your question, Ezekiel Clark, and everyone else who asked questions this week. Good set of questions as always. Excellent batch of Dead Cred Redemption submissions. Keep them coming in. gaming@goliath-media.com, and we'll work through them for next week and hopefully get another good edition for you next week. This has been episode 65 of the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast. Can you believe it? I've been Mike Williams. That's Jake Kulkowski and Liam McKelvey. Thank you everyone for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.